does it feel so much different watching Game of Thrones compared to Disney movies? Recently I spent a lot of time thinking about that and I came to a specific answer. So first of all we have to figure out what exactly lies in the core of a story that makes them so much different from each other. For most stories this is what we call the theme. The theme is pretty much what the story is about. In other words, it's the overarching topic which the story delves into. So if a theme is what really makes a story and there are different types of stories, does that mean that there have to be different types of themes? And yes, you could certainly divide themes into different types of themes. So without further talking, here's how I would categorize themes. The first type of theme is what I would call the exploration theme. Let me give you an example how such a theme could look like. Such a theme could be grief, happiness, true happiness, madness, and something like that. It's always just one single word or topic which your story revolves around. So if a theme fits a sentence like the story is about, then you could call this a type 1 theme. So let's move on to the second type. This is what I call the question theme. And as the name already says, it's pretty much a question. Examples for this kind of theme could be, can the act of killing be redeemed? Therefore, the signature sentence of the second type of theme is as follows. The story is about whether the act of killing can be redeemed. So we're basically just adding the word whether to the first signature sentence. Not my story is about, but my story is about whether. And this already leads us to the third category of themes, which is what I call the truth theme. You could also call this something like the statement theme, because the truth theme is basically just a statement that you as the author think is true. In order to formulate a type 3 theme, you could say, my story is about the fact that. It's not about, it's also not about whether, but it's about the fact that something is true. So here's an example for a type 3 theme. My story is about the fact that the act of killing cannot be redeemed. And you could go pretty crazy with such themes, because you could add but sentences or anything you like to further specify the theme. So you could end up with something like, my story is about the fact that the act of killing somebody cannot be redeemed, but a person who has changed can be redeemed. So this basically just adds a few more layers to the theme. But what makes those themes so different from each other? Let's take the type 1 theme for an example. This theme is about one general overarching topic, madness, happiness, and so on and so forth. So compared to a type 3 theme, which is about one specific statement, the type 1 theme is pretty general. And this leads us to the next point, which is all themes lie on a spectrum from very general to very specific. The type 1 theme tends to be extremely general, the type 2 theme lies somewhere in between, and the type 3 theme tends to be very, very specific. So now to the second part of the video, which is why. Why should we learn something like this? Why should we divide themes into different categories? I mean, we do the same thing with magic systems too. We categorize them in softer or harder magic systems, and this is also a spectrum. But in order to learn how to write a really, really good magic system, we have to learn how a very hard magic system looks like and how a very soft one looks like. The learning process lies in understanding the extremes and then looking at the spectrum and see what's possible. And now we just did the same thing for themes, right? The one extreme is a very specific magic system and the other one is a very general one. Now we just have to learn how to use this information and use it to write stories, right? No, but knowing what type of theme your story has can help you in other ways. Because for each type of story there are many different ways to write your narrative. This video is just intended to serve as a sort of initial crossroad where you can choose one of these paths. But in upcoming videos I will delve much deeper into individual approaches. So if you enjoyed this video and want to dive really, really deep with me into storytelling, then please consider subscribing, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye.